ऐ मसीहा नफस, ऐ महे दिल बरा, ऐ मसीहा नफस, ऐ महे दिल बरा, तख्त मेहदी के वारिस इमाम ज़मा, तख्त मेहदी के वारिस इमाम ज़मा.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We give thanks to Almighty Allah who has given us the chance to see today, and we beseech His blessings on Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Today, without wasting much of our time, because we have the truth for today's program, we want to discuss an important topic, a trending topic going on in the world today, especially in Nigeria. And this is related to the issue of killing a blasphemer. That is someone who abuses any holy thing, probably in Islam or in any other religion. Now, related to the incident that happened in Sokoto, where some students of Shehu Shagari education, they killed a student, Deborah Samuel, for allegedly abusing the Prophet. And from this, there came discussion which is going on today on the issue whether the punishment of blasphemy in Islam is killing or not. So today, I have been asked to discuss the topic, analysis of the purported evidences supporting killing of blasphemers in hadith. Now in the Holy Quran, in Surah Al-An'am verse 69, Allah the Almighty says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَ الَّذِينَ يَخُوضُونَ فِي آيَاتِنَا فَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ حَتَّى يَخُوضُوا فِي حَدِيثٍ غَيْرِهِ. And when you see those who engage in vain discourse concerning our signs, then turn away from them until they engage in the discourse other than it. Now this is talking about how a Muslim should react when you witness where they are making jest of the sign of Allah, which is, for example, abusing the Prophet or abusing Allah or abusing the Quran. You should leave that place because you are not supposed to be there. And Quran says, وَإِمَّا يُنْسِيَنَّكَ الشَّيْطَانُ فَلَا تَقْعُدْ بَعْدَ الذِّكْرَى مَعَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. And if Satan causes you to forget, then sit not after recollection with the unjust people. As well in Surah Yasin verse 31, Allah the Almighty says, Ya hasratan ala al-ibad ma ya'tihim min rasulin illa kanu bihi yastahzi'un. That alas for my servant, there comes not a messenger to them, but they mock at him. In this verse of Holy Quran, Allah the Almighty says that there is no prophet except that they must abuse him. They must insult him. And Muslim cannot be an exception to this. And there is no place in the Holy Quran where the punishment is prescribed for them to be killed. It's not possible. And in another place, Almighty Allah tells Muslim that he should forgive and overlook. And we have so many examples in the hadith where people, they will abuse Messenger of Allah in front of him and he never killed them, he never did anything wrong to them. Though we are not condoning blasphemy, we are not encouraging it, but the reaction to blasphemy shouldn't be killing. That we should condemn, we should preach, because those who are abusing him, probably they are doing it out of ignorance, because they don't know his greatness. You as a Muslim should explain his greatness to them, should show them the greatness, so that they will not abuse him tomorrow. Saying that you want to be killing those who abuse our prophet, that is very wrong. There is no proof for it in the Holy Quran, and even in hadith. Now, as we have said, there is no argument, there is no proof in the Quran. But these people are bringing some hadiths to justify killing of a blasphemer, that it is in the Sunnah, it is in Sharia. Now, many of these hadiths, they are misquoted, misinterpreted, misunderstood. So that is what we want to discuss today, to analyze some of these hadiths and explain what is behind some of these incidents of Prophet commanding the execution of those who are alleged to have done blasphemy. Now there is an hadith which I am going to start from, which is in Sunan Nisai in Kitab Tahrim al-Dam. That is the chapter that talks about the Tahrim al-Dam, making blood unlawful, shedding blood to make it unlawful. So, and this is in Hadith 4067. It is narrated that when Rasulullah lamma kana yawm fathi Makkah amman Rasulullah sallam an-nasa illa arba'a. That on the day of Fatih Makkah, that is the year when he conquered Makkah, the conquest of Makkah, he said he granted security and amnesty to all people except some people, illa arba wa imra'atan, except 4 men and 2 women. And he said, uqtuluhum, you should kill them anywhere you see them. Wa in wajadtumuhum muta'alliqina bi astaril Kaaba, even if you find them holding the covers of the Kaaba, cleaning the cover of the Kaaba, kill them. They are Ikrimah bin Abi Jahl, Abdullah bin Khatal, Mikyas bin Subaba, Abdullah bin Sa'ad bin Abi Sarh. These 4 people from this hadith, so many scholars, they infer from this hadith that these people, their offense was that they abused Messenger of Allah. And by abusing him, that makes them to be punished by death. So from here, they conclude that the punishment for a blasphemer, for anyone that abuses Islam, is that that person should be killed. In another hadith in Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 4286, it is narrated from Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu that Messenger of Allah, when he entered Makkah on the day of Fatih Makkah, dakhala Makkah yawm al-fathi wa ala ra'sihi al-mikfar, that he was putting on helmet on his head that day. فَلَمَّا نَزَعَهُ, when he removed it, جَاءَ رَجُلٌ فَقَالَ ابْنُ خَطَّلْ مُتَعَلِّقٌ بِأَسْتَارِ الْكَعْبَةِ فَقَالَ أَقْتُلُهُ. That man came to him and said, Messenger of Allah, we have seen Abdullah bin Khattal, he was hanging to the cover of Kaaba. He said, kill him. Now, yes, this is true. He said they should kill him. But why are we insisting that the punishment was because he abused Islam? Now, these 4 people, we are going to analyze the reason why Messenger of Allah commanded that they should be killed. Not just because they abused him, but for other reasons. We are going to analyze them one by one. Now, you should know that out of these 4 people, only 2 of them were killed. Not the whole 4. Only 2 of them were killed. So we are going to talk about these people. Now, before we analyze these people, we should first of all talk about the reason why Messenger of Allah had the power to punish these people. Now, when he came to Medina, the people of Medina, in Medina, they have 2 Arab tribes and 3 Jewish tribes. Aus and Khazraj, they are the Arab tribes. Among the Jewish tribes, we have Banu Qurayza, Banu Kanuka, and Banu Nadir. Now, when Rasulullah came to Medina, among the Arabs, they were fighting among themselves. The latest battle they fought was Battle of Ba'ath, where they almost finished themselves. They almost killed themselves completely. Now, after that battle, they had to come to terms that we should have a leader among us. Who will be our leader? So, if you have a leader, probably we are going to have unity among us. So, they wanted to select a leader before Messenger of Allah came to Medina. The moment he came to Medina, they all agreed to make him their leader. So that made Islam not only a prophet, but also the political leader of Medina. So he was like the president, the elected president. So the political affairs are to be run by him. Now, coming back to the issue at hand, because we are going to need this information later. Now, the first person, Abdullah bin Khattal, he was a Muslim before, and one day when Allah sent him to go and take zakat from some tribes, and he was accompanied by an Ansari brother who was also his freed slave. So they were going together on this assignment. So when they arrived at a place where they were to spend night, this man, Abdullah bin Khattal, he instructed his freed slave, his freedman, because he was a freedman already, he instructed his companion to slaughter a goat and prepare a dinner for him. Now, having given this direction, he went to sleep. And when he woke up, he found that the freedman had done nothing, because he also slept off. Because of this, he was very angry, and he killed this Ansari man. After killing him, he ran away to Mecca, because he knew that he had already committed murder. If he returned back to Medina, he would be punished. Because of that, he ran to Mecca and said, I am no more a Muslim. By saying that he had apostatized, then he began to write poems to abuse Holy Prophet Salam. He had some 2 guys who used to help him in this. And he continued to do this. Now, on the day of Fatih Makkah, Messenger of Allah gave command to go and kill him. why can't these scholars say that he gave the command to kill him because of murder he committed? Why are they insisting on the fact that he committed blasphemy? He had killed a soul before, an innocent man before, and the punishment for him is to be killed. So Messenger of Allah gave command that he should be executed on that reason, and that was why he was executed. That is number one. Number two, Miqyas bin Subaba, which I have mentioned in the hadith I read before. Now, who is Miqyas bin Subaba? Miqyas bin Subaba he had a brother. His name was Hisham. Now, his brother was mistakenly killed by another Muslim during the battle of Banu Mustalik. Now, when this happened, this man came to Medina to ask Messenger of Allah for justice for his brother who was wrongfully killed. And this incident is narrated in Sunan Bahaki. I will read the hadith. They said that قدم مكياس بن سبابة أخو هشام بن سبابة على رسول الله المدينة وقد أظهر الإسلام يطلب بدم أخيه هشام. Said he came to Medina to Messenger of Allah to seek for the recompense for the blood of his brother Hisham, who was killed in the battle of Banu Mustalik. وكان قتله رجل من المسلمين يوم بني مستلق. It was a Muslim brother that mistakenly killed him. So Faqala Rasulullah said to him that إنما قتل أخوك خطأ. See, your brother was killed mistakenly, not intentionally. So فأمر له بديته. So because of that reason, they cannot kill the killer. So Messenger of Allah commanded that they should give him the blood money. So he took the blood money for his dead brother, and that was clear enough. فَمَكَثَ مَعَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ شَيْئًا. Then after that, he lived among the Muslims as a Muslim himself, as if he had accepted Islam. ثُمَّ عَادَى عَلَى قَاتِلَ أَخِيهِ فَقَتَلَهُ. Then he was looking, you understand, till he saw the killer of his brother. Then he killed the man again. After he had collected the blood money, he committed a murder. ثُمَّ لَحِقَ بِمَكَّةَ كَافِرًا. Then when he saw that he had committed murder, he ran away to Mecca. And he said he is no more a Muslim. فَأَمَرَ رَبِّي رَسُولَ اللَّهِ عَامَ فَتْحِ مَكَّةَ. He said on the day of Fatih Makkah, he said that man should be killed. وَإِنْ وُجِدَ تَحْتَ أَسْتَارِ الْكَعْبَةِ. Even if they find him under the cover of Kaaba, he should be killed. فَقَتَلَهُ رَجُلٌ مِنْ قَوْمِهِ. So a man that came from his tribe was the one that killed him. يُقَالُ لَهُ ثُمَيْلَ بُنْ عَبْدِ اللَّهِ. So it was this man that killed Subaba. Miqyas bin Subaba. You see, his offense was not because he committed blasphemy. His offense was because he did what? He killed an innocent man after he had collected the blood money for his dead brother. For this reason, we can see now that the reason for his punishment was not blasphemy, but for murder. That was very clear enough. Now, the third person, Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh, he was not killed, but he was among those who Messenger of Allah commanded that he should be killed. Now, Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh was one of the scribes of Holy Quran. Those are used to write the Quran down for Messenger of Allah. So, whenever a revelation came to him, which is the Holy Quran, he would cause one of the scribes to write the Quran down for him. So, one day he called Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh to write the Quran down for him. So, when he called him, now he was dictating the Quran verse to him. So it was Surah Al-Mu'minun verse 14 and 15. The Messenger of Allah said that Summa ansha'nahu khalqan akhar, for him to write it. Then the moment Messenger of Allah said that verse, Abdullah he spontaneously said that Fatabarakallahu ahsanul khaliqin. The moment he said this, and accidentally it was the same thing that was with the Messenger of Allah. So because of this he said, Messenger of Allah, this man is not a prophet of God. He was fabricating this this verse of the Quran from his own self. So he ran away to Mecca. Now there are two views on this. Some say that this thing never happened. That it was this man that fabricated this story to justify his running away to the Meccans. And even if this happened, Messenger of Allah this man then returned to Mecca. He started abusing Messenger of Allah. He insulted him. He did all manners of injustice towards Messenger of Allah through poetry and through other means. And don't forget, in Surah Al-Halabiyah, they said that this man, Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh, is a foster brother to Hazrat Usman ibn Affan, a companion of Messenger of Allah. So on the fall of Mecca, he was among the few persons who were condemned to death by Holy Prophet on account of their misdeeds. Hazrat Usman bin Affan, his foster brother, gave him shelter in his house, where he remained hidden for some days. When order was restored in Mecca on his behalf, Hazrat Usman intercepted and interceded with Messenger of Allah, who remained silent for a while and then signified his forgiveness of Abdullah. This incident is mentioned both in Tafsir Kabir of Imam Razi and in the commentary of Ruhul Ma'ani. Now, meaning that Hazrat Usman went to Holy Prophet to beg on behalf of Abdullah bin Abi Sa'd and Messenger he forgive him, that he should not be killed. Now, in this issue, there is another point we can raise out. Assuming that punishment for blasphemy is prescribed in Sharia to be death, Holy Prophet would never forgive him, because it would be, the case wouldn't be personal case again. It would be the punishment of Allah the Almighty, which means that we will never play with it. I will give an example. Now, it so happened that this hadith is narrated by Aisha radiallahu anha. It said that a woman, a lady from the Banu Makhzum, a Makhzumiyya, that woman, she came from a very influential family among the Arabs. So this lady stole. He committed theft. And what she stole was big enough to give him the punishment of cutting her hand. Because not all theft is punished with cutting of hand. It has to reach a level. What the person stole should reach a level before they would cut the hand. So this one committed the theft. And they brought the case to Messenger of Allah. So, and the people were afraid that this woman, she came from a notable family. Would they punish this woman? He said, فَقَالُوا مَنْ يُكَلِّمُ فِيهَا Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, we should look for someone to beg Messenger of Allah on her behalf, to beg him that they should not carry out this punishment on this woman. فَقَالُوا مَنْ يَجْتَرِي عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا أُسَامَ حُبُّ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. He said, there is no one we can call to go and beg on our behalf except Usama bin Zaid, who is the beloved of Holy Prophet. Usama is the son of Zaid bin Harisa. So Messenger of Allah loved him so much, and because of that, they went to him to go and beg Holy Prophet on behalf of this Makhzumiyya woman. So now Usama went to Messenger of Allah and begged him that please don't punish this woman, don't cut her hand. Messenger of Allah was angry. He stood up and he said, أَتَشْفَعُ فِي حَدِّ مِنْ حُدُودِ اللَّهِ. You know this word? He said, oh Usama, are you interested regarding one of the punishments prescribed by Allah? He was shielding Usama. Are you begging me to overlook the punishment prescribed by Allah? The same begging was done by Usman, and he forgave Abdullah ibn Abi Sa'd. If it was part of punishment prescribed by Allah, he would never forgive Abdullah ibn Abi Sa'd. But in this case of theft, which was prescribed by Allah the Almighty, Messenger of Allah was angry at Usama that, why are you begging on behalf of Hududullah? And Messenger of Allah, he then stood up and said, Summa qama faqtataba. Then he gave a lecture. He said, Ayu an-nas, oh people, innama ahlaka alladhina qablakum, those who came before you were destroyed. Annahum kanu idha saraka fihim ash-sharifu tarakuhu. That because of the reason that when those who are big among them, those who come from good family, high-ranking family among them, when they commit theft, you will leave them. They will leave them. They will not punish them. وَإِذَا سَرَقَ فِيهِمُ الضَّعِيفُ. But if it is a weak person from a weak family, from a poor family, أَقَامُوا عَلَيْهِ الْحَدِّ, they will give the punishment to the person. Then he said, Law anna Fatima binta Rasulillah Mita Muhammad. He said, if Fatima, the daughter of Messenger of Allah, were to commit theft, he said, I will surely cut her hand. You see his attitude to the heart of Almighty Allah, the prescribed by Almighty Allah. And you see the example in this hadith. And that is why a country like Nigeria is not going forward. When big men are committing theft, they are committing crimes, they will be forgiven. But if it is a poor man that is stealing or that stole just one indomie or one biscuit, they will kill him, they will lynch him. That is the condition we find ourselves in. Now this hadith can be found in Sahih Muslim, Kitab al-Hudud. Now, from this hadith, we can see that if death is the punishment for blasphemy, he would never allowed Uthman to beg on behalf of Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh, and also he forgave him. Then the fourth person is Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl. He was the son of Abu Jahl and one of the fierce enemies of Prophet Islam. He caused a lot of troubles. He took part in the Battle of Uhud and some other battles against Prophet Islam and Muslims. When the Muslims conquered Mecca, he was among the few people who Islam instructed that they be killed. Hakim, that his wife, converted to Islam. Subsequently, his wife convinced Ikrimah to accept Islam, and he did. Hakim then begged the Messenger of Allah on behalf of her husband, and he forgave him. The same rule applies to the one I've explained before. Now, these were the four people that Messenger of Allah announced that they should be killed on the day of Fatu Makkah, even if they were holding the cover of Kaaba. We have clarified this four incidents now. That they were not killed just because they abused Messenger of Allah, but they were killed for other offenses, and only two of them were killed. So that should make it clear. Now there is another person which I would like to talk about, which they are also quoting to support that death is the punishment for blasphemy in Islam, and that is Ka'b ibn Ashraf. Who is Ka'b ibn Ashraf? Ka'b ibn Ashraf was another person executed on order of Messenger of Allah, though that was long before the conquest of Mecca. The champions of death penalty for blasphemy are also quoting this to support their claim. They say that he was executed because he blasphemed and he abused Holy Prophet Muhammad. Who was Ka'b ibn Ashraf? And why was he executed? Now, Ka'b ibn Ashraf was a Jew by creed, but not by race. His father, Ashraf, was an Arab from Banu Nadhan who came and settled in Medina and became a confederate of Banu Nadir. Gradually, he acquired so much importance and influence that the chief of Banu Nadir, Abu Rafi' Abi Akik, gave his daughter in marriage to him. Then they gave birth to Ka'b, who, as he grew up, acquired even greater status than his father. So much so that in the end, all the Jews of Arabia acclaimed him as their chief. He was a poet of a high order, he was morally despicable, and was a master of intrigue. On the arrival of Islam in Medina, Ka'b ibn Ashraf became a party to the agreement that Messenger of Allah entered with the Jews. Now when Messenger of Allah came to Medina, you know what he first did? He said, all those who are living in Medina, all of us, let us come together. Let us have an agreement, a pact, that all of us will be as one. We will never allow anybody from outside, we will never support anybody from outside to attack any of us. We are going to protect ourselves. That was the agreement Messenger of Allah had with the Jews. At first, Ka'b was entertaining sentiment of rancor and enmity towards Islam and the Muslims, and he began to intrigue against them. He was much chagrined at the victory of Muslims in the Battle of Badr, and he began actively to plan the destruction of Islam and Muslims. Up to then, he had imagined that the religious zeal of the Muslims was only a temporary phase, and that gradually they would abandon Islam and revert to their ancestral creed. That was his thought, that they will soon leave Messenger of Allah, they will soon leave Islam. But after the Battle of Badr, he was convinced that this will not happen, that these are confirmed Muslims, they will never leave Messenger of Allah. So when he saw this, then he was filled with much apprehension and anger. He forthwith proceeded to Mecca and provoked the Quraysh with his speeches and his poetry, and roused their wrath against the Muslims to boiling point. He took their leaders to the Kaaba and put them on oath, their hands clutching the covering of Kaaba, that they would not rest till they had wiped out Islam and its founder from the face of the earth. Having achieved his purpose in Mecca, he traveled from tribe to tribe in the country and roused them against the Muslims. Returning to Medina, he began to address amorous and provocative verses to Muslim women, not sparing even the women of the family of Holy Prophet Muhammad. He gave wide publicity to his lewd friends. He then conspired to bring about the assassination of Holy Prophet Muhammad at a meal in his own house, to which he intended to invite him along with some Jewish young men who were to perpetrate the foul deed. But when Islam came to know of the design, which was then frustrated. In this context, it must be remembered that Islam, by virtue of agreement which had been arrived at between the various tribes of Medina, was not only the spiritual leader of Muslims, but also the chief executive and chief magistrate of Medina, in which Ka'b bin Ashraf was also a citizen. Thus, every one of these activities of Ka'b amounted to treason and was punishable with death. You, as a citizen of Nigeria, going to outsiders to come and attack Nigeria. You are bringing enemies to come and attack the country. You know, you are no more ordinary blasphemer. You are beating the drum of war. You are no more an ordinary blasphemer. You are committing crime, which is punishable even in today's law. So because of that, Messenger of Allah gave command that he should be killed. But he felt like if Ka'b bin Ashraf were to be killed outside, that may cause serious problems. So he sent someone to go and secretly execute him, and he was executed. Now, this can be found in Muhammad's Prophet by Muhammad Zafar Khan. His offense was beyond just blasphemy against personality of Islam. He was also a beater of war drum. He was committing crime, committing treason. These examples simply emphasize that there is no punishment for blasphemy or defecting from Islam to another religion. Execution only came into play whenever a particular crime was found to be a potential threat to the society. It is for the same reason, deliberately or not, that the modern law has employed death penalty as punishment for some felony that could threaten the government or the peace of a nation. An example of this can be found in the Nigeria Constitution in Section 38 of the Criminal Code of Nigeria, Criminal Code Act of Nigeria. It is found there. The heading is instigating invasion of Nigeria. It says that any person who instigates any foreigner to invade Nigeria with an armed force is guilty of treason and is liable to be punishable, is liable to the punishment of death. So his offense was not just blasphemy, but because he had committed treason, he had gone out of the pact, the agreement he had with Islam, and he had supported the outsiders to attack Medina. So for this, we can see that there is no proof whatsoever to support their view that blasphemy is punished with death. Now, lastly, there's an hadith which they mostly quote to support the death punishment for blasphemy. Even though in this hadith, Messenger of Allah was not the one that gave the command to go and kill that woman. It was the person himself that killed the woman, then came to Messenger of Allah to report himself. Now let us read this hadith and analyze it. It can be found in Sunan Nisai, Kitab Tahrim Dam, hadith number 4070. Now the hadith is long, but I will try to read the English. You can check the Arabic by yourself. Now it is narrated, I will read the sanad. Akhbarana Uthman bin Abdullah. Please, I want you to note the name of the narrators. Akhbarana Uthman bin Abdullah, meaning that Uthman bin Abdullah, the last person was Imam Nisai. Imam Nisai was the one that said that Akhbarana Uthman bin Abdullah, meaning that he heard it from who? Uthman bin Abdullah. Now Uthman bin Abdullah said, Haddathana Abbad bin Musa. Qala Haddathana Ismail bin Ja'far. That is, he got it from Ismail bin Ja'far. Then Qala Haddathani Israel. And Uthman bin Shaham. Note this name. Uthman bin Shaham. Qala Kuntu Aqud Rajulan. Then Uthman bin Shaham heard this hadith from Ikrimah Mawla Ibn Abbas. That is Ikrimah, the freed slave of Ibn Abbas, who in turn heard it from Abdullah bin Abbas. Now, he said there was a blind man during the time of Messenger of Allah who had an Walad. Walad is the term used for female slave that are given birth to their master. As a result, they are freed. Do you get it? So this man had a Walad. This blind man, a blind man. He had a Walad, by whom he had 2 sons. She used to slander and defame Holy Prophet ﷺ a great deal, and he would rebuke her, but she would not pay heed. And he would forbid her to do that, but she ignored him. This blind man said, one night I mentioned the Messenger of Allah, and she slandered him. I could not bear it, so I went in and got a dagger, which I thrust into her stomach, and leaned upon it, and killed her in the morning. And in the morning she was found slain. Mention of that was made to Messenger of Allah, and he gathered people and said, I adjure by Allah a man over whom I have right, that he should obey me. And he did what he did to stand up. The blind man started to tremble and said, O Messenger of Allah, I am the one who killed her. She was my walad, and she was kind and gentle towards me. And I have 2 sons like pearls from her, but she used to slander and defame you a great deal. I forbade her, but she did not stop. And I rebuked her, but she did not pay it. Finally, I mentioned your name, and she slandered you. So I went and got a dagger, which I thrust into her stomach, and leaned on it until I killed her. The Messenger of Allah then said, the same Messenger of Allah said, Allah ishhadu anna damaha hadarun, that I bear witness. Ashhadu anna damaha hadarun, I bear witness that our blood is permissible. He said, yes, you have done the right thing. That's the hadith that is reported in Sunan Nisa'i, which I've mentioned above. Another one with the same content in Sunan Abi Dawud, Kitab al-Hudud, hadith number 4361. The same sanad from Abad, but the sanad is different, but it contains the same Uthman bin Shaham, which is Abad bin Musa al-Khutali. He got it from Ismail bin Ja'far al-Madani. He got it from Israel, from Uthman bin Shaham, and Ikrimah, Mawla ibn Abbas, then from Abdullah ibn Abbas, then he narrated the hadith. And there's an addition in this report, which is narrated in Sunan Abu Dawud, that a child came between our leg, was smeared with blood that was there. So see the quality that is mentioned in this hadith. Now, from this hadith, so many scholars are deriving out that it shows that the punishment for blasphemy is to kill the blasphemer. The Prophet said that yes, our blood is lawful. Now, when we check all these narrations, this narration can also be found in Sunan Daraqutni. It's also written by Imam At-Tabarani in Mu'jam al-Kabir. It's also in Sunan by Imam Bayhaqi. This same hadith is there. And if you check all the sanad, all of them they are narrated through the same link of sanad. From Uthman bin Shaham, from Ikrimah, from Ibn Abbas. In all the narrations, they are from that same link. From Uthman bin Shaham, Ikrimah, Abdullah ibn Abbas. Now, a narration of this magnitude relating to a concept related to human life and a supposed hudud is narrated from a link from Uthman bin Shaham, who was a doubtful narrator. They doubt his authenticity. It was not a complete thinker. They doubted him. Now I'm going to read the comment of scholars on Uthman bin Shaham. Now, the importance of study is to know the authenticity of the matnu, the hadith. Now, following are the comment of scholars on Uthman bin Shaham. Now, if we check Tazib by Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, he mentioned some of the comments of scholars in this book. He said, وَذُكِرَ عُثْمَانْ بن شحام عند يحيى فقال يعرف وينكر. Yahya ibn al-Qattan, they mentioned the name of Uthman bin Shaham in front of him, and he said his narration are sometimes acknowledged or rejected. Meaning that he was not a complete reliable narrator. So they said sometimes they accept his narration, sometimes it is rejected. Imam Yahya ibn Ma'in said that he is reliable. Imam Abu Dawud as well said that let's be Ibas. Yes, some of them give positive comment on him, but they gave negative comment on him as well. Imam Daraqutni said, Basri yu'tabar bihi, that this man is from Basra, and there is need for further consideration of his authenticity. Imam Nisai said, Qala Nisai laysa biqawi, he is not strong, he is not a reliable narrator, he is not a strong reporter of hadith. Abu Ahmad al-Hakim said that Usman bin Muslim, Abu Salama, the same man, he said he is not solid in their view. He is not a strong narrator in their view. See Ikmalu Tahzib al-Kamal. Another one that is mentioned, they said that Uthman Shaham laysa lahu kathiru hadithin wa ma rawa bihi ba'san fi riwayatihi. That Uthman bin Shaham does not have many traditions. He narrated few hadiths, very few hadiths. But there is no objection seen in his narration. This can be seen in Kamil fi Du'afa al-Rijal. However, just because Ibn Adi, who was the author of Kamil fi Du'afa, just because he saw nothing wrong with his narration does not mean that he considered him above scrutiny. In Mizan al-I'tidal by Imam Adhabi, he said, Lahu hadithun wahid fi Sahih Muslim fil fitna akhrajahu shahidan. Imam Muslim included only one narration of Uthman bin Shaham from Muslim bin Abi Bakr in his Sahih collection. Now, this indicates that Imam Muslim considered his chain from Ibn Abi Bakr to be authentic. Now, I'm going to explain this. Now, there are some narrators that will be considered reliable in narration of a particular person, not in narration of another person. For example, I as a narrator may narrate from 5 people. Now, if I narrate from 5 people, it may be only my narration from one of them that will be considered sahih, others will be rejected. Because of the relationship between him and those teachers. Probably he did not hear from them, or probably he was not a good student with them. So, Imam Muslim only reported this hadith that is satisfied, that is certified, that is the one from Ibn Abi Bakr, and that was not the name through which he narrated this hadith of a blind man killing a blasphemer. Hence, this shows that this man, Usman Mushahan, was not. Now, a situation like this, the problematic hadith of a blind man is based on authority of a questionable narrator, who narrated an unusually small number of hadiths, who was criticized and rejected by some scholars, and whose narrations are otherwise not widely regarded as legal evidence. How can we now base a whole rule of law on such a person? A rule regarding killing human being. And even though this hadith is against many hadiths we have seen in books of hadith, where he forgave blasphemers. So why should we now insist that we must take this hadith as an evidence, whereas the hadith is not sahih? The narrator is not reliable. Another hadith of this type can be found in Sunan Abi Dawud. It is also in Kitab al-Hudud, hadith 4362. It is reported, Hadathana Uthman bin Abi Shayba wa Abdullah ibn Jarrah al-Jarir al-Mughira al-Sha'bi al-Ali radiallahu anhu. Now, this report is narrated from Uthman bin Shayba, then from him, Abdullah bin al-Jarrah, then from Jarir, then from Mughira, then al-Sha'bi from Ali radiallahu anhu. That a Jewish lady used to abuse the Prophet Islam and disparage him. A man strangled her till she died. The Messenger of Allah then declared that no recompense was payable for her blood. This hadith is graded da'if by scholars. This is graded what? Da'if by scholars. One of them is Albani. Now, in Ta'zib, Imam Darqutni is quoted in his Ilal. He said that Ash-Sha'bi, the one who got the hadith from Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said Ash-Sha'bi did not hear anything from Ali ibn Abi Talib except a single phrase, and he did not hear anything else. And that single phrase was not this hadith. Meaning that if Sha'bi did not hear this hadith from Ali, from where did he get it? So because of this, aspersion is casted on this sanad, and also it is not reliable as well. So how can we base this ruling on weak narrations? So aside from these discrepancies, if we cast a look on the content of hadith, it is against many aspects of Sharia. For example, is this hadith support jungle justice? Meaning that if I see an offender, I can kill him without going to government, which is against the Quran, which is against teachings. For example, the incident of a man that if I see my wife and with another man, I will kill that man and I will come to you so that you will give me judgment of a killer. Messenger said, do not do that. Come and report to me. That's why there is nothing like jungle justice in Islam. So, and this hadith can be used to justify the jungle justice because the man killed him without proper investigation, and that's against the Quran. So if you have to accept the hadith, it means that what those guys did in Sokoto is correct, whereas that's not Islam. So finally, we have seen good examples of how we treated the blasphemers, those who abuse him to his face. I will just give an example because of time. Example which is narrated in Sahih Bukhari at the 6,256. That Aisha said that some men from among the Jews came to the Messenger of Allah. Faqalu assalamu alayka. Then they said, assalamu sounds like assalamu alayka. That assalamu alayka, which means that death and curse be on you, O Muhammad. What is more blasphemous than that? Telling the Prophet of Allah, the political leader of their society, that death on you, curse on you. That was what they said to him. He did not say go and kill them, go and punish them. What did he say? Then faqultu alaykum assalamu walana. As Aisha was there, she said assalamu alaykum as well walana. May death and curse be upon you. Walana, she even added lana. may curse be upon you. Fakala Sallallahu said to her, Aisha, Mahlan ya Aisha, oh Aisha, be calm. Be calm, be calm. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الرِّفْقَ فِي الْأَمْرِ كُلِّهِ. He said, for Allah the Almighty loves that one should be kind and lenient in all matters. See his reply to a blasphemer. He said, Aisha said that, أَوَلَمْ تَسْمَعَ مَا قَالُوا. Didn't you hear what they said? They said, death be upon you, curse be upon you. And Messenger of Allah said that, فَقَدْ قُلْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ. I have also said, and upon you as well. You don't have to reply with anger, with curse. So this shows that Messenger of Allah was not of the opinion of killing blasphemers. And the last example is an example of Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, who abused Messenger of Allah, and the abuse was even recorded in the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Munafiqun. That he said that when he returned to Medina, the most honored one will send out the meanest one from Medina. And what was the reaction? His own son came to Messenger of Allah that, please give me permission to kill my father for abusing you. He said, no, don't do it. When Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul died, Messenger of Allah said that he gave his shirt to go and bury him with, and he even prayed on his body. That is the most Islam that you know. So there is no earthly punishment. The punishment lies with Allah the Almighty. So you have seen all these arguments they are bringing. They are nothing. Blasphemy is not to be punished by death. At the end, if you say you want to protect Messenger of Allah, you love him, that's why you want to kill a blasphemer. See the result of action they have done now. A girl abused Messenger of Allah, they killed her. It has brought more insult to him. It has brought more insult to him. How do you reply to insult? By making them to understand, showing them good examples, and that is the real Islam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
ऐ मसीहा नफस ऐ महे दिल बरा ऐ मसीहा नफस ऐ महे दिल बरा तख्त मेहदी के वारिस इमाम ज़मा तख्त मेहदी के वारिस इमाम ज़मा